Welcome to the Disney Parks Podcast with your hosts, Tony Casanova from DisneyByTheNumbers.com and Krista Joy from DisneyWays.com. Keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast at all times. And get ready for the Disney Parks Podcast.
Hi, this is Mike Brassell, voice of the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover. As we approach the Tomorrowland Transit Authority station, our Grand Circle tour is coming to an end, but not to a stop, because you're listening to the Disney Parks Podcast.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the show. You may recognize our guest today as the voice of the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover in the Magic Kingdom, or as the voice you hear as you relax and enjoy your boat ride through the Living with the Land attraction at Epcot. You may be surprised to learn he's actually done a lot of additional work for Disney movies and more. He's a seasoned musical composer, triple Emmy Award winner, and he's got a very special announcement to make for us today. Mike Brassell, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. What an intro. Wow. I'm so happy to be here. Happy to be back, as a matter of fact. Thank you guys so much.
This is like round two. Ding, ding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, this is fun. How you guys been?
We've been good. We've
Awesome.
been really good. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good to talk to you again. I can't believe it's been almost a year ago.
Same
already.
here. No, I can't either.
Time's going
Man,
so
time,
fast.
it does. It just flies by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, speaking of ding, ding, round, round, I was reading in your bio that you are the son of a professional boxer.
That is absolutely correct. Thank you for bringing that up. Look, that's a proud moment for me that I had nothing to do with. It really is. So I was born 3 days before my father was in the ring with George Foreman, none other than George Foreman. So
wow.
He lost the fight, but he was in the ring with him.
Yeah.
And that's great. I like to tell people that my dad not only touched the greatest, he punched the greatest. He did, because he managed to fight with Muhammad Ali as well. And I have a picture where, and this was a cool story. Look, I have no idea why this happened. I have 4 other brothers. I'm 4th out of 5, so I was almost the last one. But way back when my father was boxing, they managed to take me to Miami, Florida, from where we were living in Ohio. And I'm not even 1, I don't think, at that point yet. But they chose my dad to go down and spar with Muhammad Ali in Angelo Dundee's training camp in Florida. And they brought me down as a baby, and I got a picture with Muhammad Ali holding me. While my dad and mom were down there training. Well, my mom wasn't training. My dad was training. My mom was watching me. My dad was training with Ali. It's a special picture. I love it. My dad actually signed the back of it for me, because he knows how special that was for me. He's a superstar in my mind. He's not with us anymore. He's since passed, but my dad was a fantastic individual, talented as all get out. And I was glad to be able to get that picture taken down there with Ali.
If you're going to have your lights punched out, it might as well be by George Foreman or Muhammad Ali.
That's what I'm talking about, right? Right?
If you're going to have somebody knock you out and throw you to the ground, you might as well have it be some of the greatest boxers in boxing.
In history, right?
Right, yeah.
Isn't that the coolest thing in the world?
Yeah. I met Muhammad Ali in the airport once, and this was kind of fairly early in his Parkinson's diagnosis, and he was traveling with somebody that was helping him. But he was the nicest person. He was sitting in these seats in the airport, and the people were coming off the plane, and most people just kind of like walked right past him.
Wow.
But every now and again, like kids or teenagers would kind of go, I think that's Muhammad Ali. And the kid would kind of go over to Muhammad, and Muhammad would like kind of pretend to box with him, shadow box with him.
Yes.
Very few people took a picture. He really didn't sign anything. But anybody that came over to him, he was very gracious, said hello, took the time to speak to them. This is, when he could still speak. But I had the best time just watching this happen, sitting across from him. It was the best experience, Muhammad Ali experience I've ever had. Well, the only one I've ever had, but it's still very, familiar in my mind. He's a very gracious person, and
he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. My dad used to talk about him quite a bit, of course, just because of his experience with him. I think my dad got chosen to fight with him because my dad was very fast, of course. And when you're sparring, you need someone who presents a challenge to you in an area that your trainers might think you need some training with. So my dad used to spar with him quite a bit, up to the point that I think one of their exhibition matches was on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Do you remember that whole show from way back on ABC with the ski jumper that crashes at the end?
Right.
Remember that open montage?
Yep.
Man, I always remember that. But they did show that fight. I don't know how many rounds it went on ABC, and I've yet to find that footage. So ABC, anyone from ABC, if you're listening, I'd like to. I'd like for you to help me out, dig through those archives and check it out.
You do some work for the parent company of ABC, Mike, right?
Hey, that's true. Cue the harp thinking music here.
Can't somebody throw you a bone and help you out there?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Come on, I'll do something for you. You do something for me.
Yeah,
a little quid pro quo.
That's right. We could trade, can't we?
Yeah, sure.
Well, we kind of talked about this a little bit on the last show, but I think it's just really fascinating for people. So I'm going to ask you again, what do you think of, or what is it like to listen to your own voice when you're on a Disney ride? And what do your kids and your family think when they hear you?
Well, it's a strange thing to hear yourself in that format. Just being a voice actor or voiceover person, you tend to hear yourself quite a bit. You're recording things all the time, doing auditions and things like that. But when it comes to this, it's a heightened sense of I don't know what to say. It's surreal, maybe. And I think I've said that before. It's really hard to use any other kind of word to really describe how it feels. You go, wait a minute. Wow. Wait a minute. What? It's playing here? This is amazing. That's the way I feel about it. It's absolutely tremendous. I love it so much. And of course, now that's exciting for me. But when my kids hear it and they see it and they're experiencing it as well, I can't tell you the feeling I feel. It feels tremendous to know or to see their reaction. Actually, they look back at you with eyes filled with pride. They're excited. They're happy. They tell their friends. Nobody believes them.
You're like, your dad does what?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's not true.
Yeah.
My kids don't sound like that, but that does happen, and it's fun, I should say.
Yeah, and you have a special connection as well to Space Mountain. Can you tell everybody about that?
Yes, I can. Thank you for asking. That's one thing I'm very, very proud of as well. And I should tell you that this is how it started. Right after we got a chance to install the audio on the Tomorrowland Transit Authority, my person and I, my contact from WDI, were walking underneath there. And this was after the park was closed. Just going to go ride it and listen to the audio. And he ended up asking me, he just said very simply, he goes, can you write music as well? And I'm like, yeah. And of course, anytime someone from WDI asks you, can you do anything? And you must say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah, sure.
Let me go to school real quick, but I can do it. No, you say yes. And of course I did. And then he said, okay. And it was very cryptic, I should say, very cryptic. So we finished the night out, listened to the audio and all that great stuff. Time goes past. We end up talking about how the ride is going and the audio for that. And he goes, Mike, I think we've got something for you. Just hang tight and check your email in a couple of days. I did. And lo and behold, it was a contract for writing the music for Space Mountain there at Magic Kingdom. Wow. So I'm one of two Michaels that have scored music in or in Space Mountain in the States. And that's a tremendous honor to be able to share that with Michael Giacchino. He scored the other in-car soundtrack at Disneyland.
Wow.
So yeah, I just have to make this clear for everybody. So you're on the Tomorrowland Transit People Authority, People Mover, and you hear yourself narrating, and then you go through Space Mountain, and your music that you composed is also playing in the background. So if you can just imagine how that must feel, it's got to be surreal and just crazy. And you're probably the only person in the world that can say that happened to them. So
it's humbling more than anything else to know that I've been blessed to be able to have that happen, and I truly mean that. I mean, it's one of those things where I actually call my mom. I don't normally do that, I try to keep my excitement to myself. I share it with my family, and it's nice to have that happen. But this was one I was like, Mom, you got to check this out. Here's what happens, Mom. Look, when you go through here, you hear this in my voice, and then there's Space Mountain. You can hear the music. What do you think? She's like, oh, that's great, son. I'm so excited. I have to tell my mom, look, isn't this great, Mom? She's like, yeah, that's fantastic. No, listen, she's proud, and I'm happy. It was fantastic, and I got to bring her down to Orlando and ride along with her. It'd be cool. I enjoy that. So that's fun, and yeah, that is exciting. It's that's off the charts for me for having something to leave to my family legacy. I mean, that's who could have asked for that,
It's awesome.
The only way that could get better is if you would voice a voice in the Carousel of Progress. This way you get like all three things there kind of going.
Oh, yeah, I'd love that.
Like animatronic Mike?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, that'd be so cool.
Every attraction that the TTA goes through, you do a voice or a song, compose a song in. That would be interesting.
That would blow my mind. I don't even know how.
We'll just call it Mike's Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Walt Disney.
Right? Oh, my kids, my wife, she'd be like, oh, okay, no. Someone's going to have to deflate you before you come back out here. No, I'm teasing. That would be, I didn't even know, out of this world. It would be amazing.
Yeah.
Now, the story that you're saying that, they asked you, can you do that? Walt, I always hear these stories that Walt used to ask people to do things that they weren't always fit to do. Like, I think like Bob Gurr, who, invented almost everything at Disneyland that has wheels and moves. That was not really his job. He had like a completely different job. And then Walt said, go make a monorail thing for us, and he did. So I think that's a kind of a habit thing with Disney, is asking people to do things they really may not be fit to do, but
they saw a spark in you. They saw something, Mike, and they were like, okay, he needs to challenge himself a little bit. Let's ask him to do this other thing over here. So,
but I guess it was kind of good that you could compose music.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm proud to be able to do that. But yeah, you're right. They do tend to. I don't know how I want to finish that, but they like to stick with those that they know that can do the job, I believe, and they'll keep going back to that resource pool and get what they can from that, and until they need to find someone or something new, and that's what I love about them as well. I'm just proud to be in their circle.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you've had an amazing career with Disney. If you want to share with everybody a little bit about your part that you've had in so many animated features and your time working with Roy and all that good stuff, can you talk about all that?
Yeah, absolutely. Disney, first of all, is the best, one of the best companies, if not the best company to work for. They're tremendous. They're amazing. And I don't just use these words in vain. They really are great to their people, at least from my perspective and how I came into the company and how I used to work with them and what they did. They're just absolutely awesome. It's just a delight to be able to tell people that you work for Disney. So I started with them, as a matter of fact, on Fantasia, which had a couple of name changes, but it was Fantasia 2000, Fantasia continued, and then, of course, I think it was just Fantasia what did it end up being? Fantasia 2000?
2008, 2005.
I can't remember what the final was, but I started there, just green, had no idea, about Disney feature animation outside of what I used to experience as a child. Watching movies, Lion King and things like that. Just fantastic work that they did. And I started in Fantasia, as a matter of fact, as a PA. And I love that job. It was fun. I got a chance to learn. I was completely inexperienced with animation, and so I got a chance to really get a deep level knowledge of what Disney animation was about from the inside, just by serving in that capacity. That was tremendous. That allowed me to touch not just the artwork, but a lot of the history that had gone on there. Literally, I had such a great time there. I ended up working on parts of lots of different movies, including Hercules, as that was going out the door. I managed to touch that a little bit. It wasn't in an official capacity, but we had to do some touch-ups in the department that I was in, which was cleanup. We had to touch that there, which was great, and we ended up completing Fantasia and moving forward to Human Again, which was the new song from Alan Menken a while back that they ended up adding into Beauty and the Beast. So in the special edition, because our crew got picked to animate that, and we got the actual artwork from the archives so that the animators and cleanup artists could reference all the original artwork, and to see that was amazing. They had to bring it over, in special containers. There was someone with the artwork. They trusted us with it, of course, but you had to have gloves on when you touched the original. It was spectacular to see that was one of the original frames, one of the original scenes in Beauty and the Beast. That was tremendous. These guys here had such a profound respect for all the animators and all the people that artists that I'd worked with. Like I said, I knew virtually nothing when I got into the company about animation, and just seeing the unbelievably powerful resource of talent that Disney gets for their work is it's amazing. It's nothing short to me of what Walt would have done as well, and what he did do. They're carrying on his legacy that way. But the talent that was there when I was there in that capacity they were amazing, and they're all very kind. They are artists, I will say that, but they're very, very kind. And they were at least kind to me, and just did their job. Everybody was willing to put in the extra time. And work to get the job done and get it done right. And we're so proud when those movies came out and got great recognition from everyone. This is Disney animation. That's the way I felt about it. It was just tremendous to be able to be on those films. Outside of that, with Fantasia, we would have screenings. And with those screenings, we'd be able to go down to the screening room outside at Northside is where we were, which was, what was it called? The Skunk Works building there in Burbank. And we had North Side and South Side as well. South Side is the Hat Building right off the 134 freeway, I think. That's the Mickey Sorcerer's Hat Building I'm referring to. And that was right under that hat was Roy Disney's office. But we'd have screenings in Fantasia, and that's where I got a chance to meet Michael Eisner and Roy Disney. Of course, that was Roy's baby. He would see that through and be there physically to make sure that all has gone well with that new vision that had come up with Fantasia. So I got a chance to meet him, and what a wonderful individual. I know people talk glowingly about Roy, and I can do no better. He's just a tremendous individual. He was a tremendous individual. I was so proud to be able to meet him, to be able to touch him and shake his hand and then call him Roy. What? Are you kidding me? You're Roy Disney. You look just like Walt. This is amazing to see you walking around. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was so pleased to be in that environment. It was amazing, and I can't express it any other way. I sound like I'm whining. I apologize, but I'm just blown away.
We can relate. Are you kidding?
Experiences yes. that I've had there. So you know what I'm talking about then.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my goodness. It was awesome, and I found myself one of the mind-blowing times for me is I found myself, as we were going to one of the screenings, walking. We had to show something and clean up a scene or something, and we all ended up going, right after we did that, down to the screening room. And there was Michael Eisner and Roy, and I found myself walking between them, talking with them as if I were talking to a couple of friends of mine. And what can you say? You know what I'm saying? It was just, it was mind-blowing. I guess that's what I can say, because that's how I felt about it. And that not often did they come over. I'm not making it seem like we were the best of friends. I'm just saying that they were, when you're in the family, you're in the family. I'll put it that way. And they did want you to call them by their first name, and that is Disney tradition, and they do continue to carry that on. And it was funny to see someone talk and carry Roy's ashtray. He's the only one that could smoke in the building. And I don't think he was actually smoking, but I think someone did have an ashtray in case he wanted to. It was very funny to see that. Wow, you go, wow. I'm standing here in the depth of Disney animation and tradition. It blew my mind. And so then after that, I went on to help a little bit with Atlantis, of course. And I have to share this story with you as well, if you don't mind, because this is another moment I'm proud of. And I'm going to have to do something about this. You understand when I finish this story. PA still, of course, on the floor there. And I'm walking around at lunch. And there's a particular animator that had called me into his room. Hey, Mike, can you come here? Oh, yeah. Get them something or do something for them or shoot a scene or whatever it is. You go in and do it. And so he said, Mike, have a seat. I don't know if I've told you guys this story. Did I tell you? Do you remember this? Does this sound familiar to you?
I don't.
A little bit, but tell it again, because it's been a year, and so we have a lot of new listeners that we didn't have a year ago. So.
Oh, fantastic! well, he asked me to sit down, and I did, and he gave me this bowl. And he posed me. He said, "Here, just hold it still." And so he posed me like he wanted me, but with my hand held up. And he gave me some chopsticks. And he said, "He just hold it, just like this." And so I held it as he had posed me for. I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "No, don't worry." And he turned around to his animation desk and started sketching. So I knew he was doing something, but he didn't show me. He goes, and so he did 5 minutes worth. And now I have great respect for those who pose for. for those who draw, because that's a job where you have to stay still, man, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm getting a little tired. They're like, you can take a break, but hit that pose again. And so basically he's sketching out something. So I get that, and he goes, I'm going to try to see if I can't do something with this. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. I didn't know what he was doing. I walk away again. A couple days go by, a week goes by. This guy, he's on the Atlantis crew, and turned out he was supposed to be getting character designs for Dr. Sweet for Atlantis. And he said, Mike, he came back. He goes, he showed me exactly what he was doing. He goes, look, I used you as the premise for Dr. Sweet. He goes, I got it approved. So I'm the base imagery for Dr. Sweet.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
That is that. I was like, wow, that is crazy. That is crazy.
And what a gorgeous character too! Big muscles and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so, yeah, that's awesome.
Isn't that the coolest? So that was absolutely awesome. And because I'm telling you that, I have to tell you another story. Would you mind?
Oh,
no,
please
go.
do. Yeah.
Okay, so that happens, and I'm struck. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Now, look, I would walk back to my desk quite a bit throughout the week or throughout the months of production that we're working on, and I would be getting caricatures. The guys were great. I'd be getting caricatures done of me, and I'm going to have to, and that's what I mean by the end of the story here. I'm going to have to scan in all of the caricatures that were done of me and put them up at least on my Facebook page, so you guys can check out what they used to do. I'm telling you, these guys were good. They were wicked. They were fantastic to capture your essence basically on paper and to make it funny. These guys were hilarious. So it was very good to be able to do that. Now, look, I'm working on I can't even remember what film I'm working on. Still Fantasia, maybe. And the other section in Northside had Atlantis and Eric Goldberg. Eric Goldberg is one of the animators for the genie in Aladdin. He's a great, great guy and a fantastic artist. So I used to deliver, papers and things like that to their office as well. We were all on the same floor. Now, mind you, I'm a composer, as you guys know, but I would always let everyone know what I did. You gotta be a cheerleader for what you do and what you want to do, and you got to tell people so that they know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm a big fan of that, and I ended up telling as many people as possible about, hey, I compose. If you ever need anything, or I write music, and this and that, and that's great. Well, his wife comes and finds me, and she goes, Eric would like to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now, look, when you're a PA and a director says they want to talk to you, it's not always a great thing. So I'm walking down the hall to Eric's office going, okay, what did I do? I thought I gave him everything he needed. I was trying to be nice to him. It's just that's what I was going. That was all going through my mind. I was really nervous going down to his office. So I knock on the door, and he opens the door. And anyone who knows Eric Goldberg knows I love his personality. I love his whole persona. I mean, he's just a tremendous guy. Very jolly, very happy, and just a fantastic individual and a great artist. So he opens the door, and I go, "Hey, Eric, how you doing?" He goes, "Hey, Mike, come on in." And I come in. He goes, "Have a seat." And he closes the door, and I'm ready for the shoe to drop. And that's just me being paranoid. And he goes, Mike. He goes, "I heard you write music." Oh, and I was like, "Ding, yeah, that's awesome." Yes. I said that in my head. And so I say, yeah, I do write music. How'd you hear that? Wink, wink. No, I said, yes, I do write music. And he goes, "Okay, that's fantastic." He goes, "Look, I've got an idea for a movie," and of course my jaw drops. I've got an idea for a movie that I'd like to pitch, and I need some music written to these songs, to these lyrics. And he had in his hand 5 pieces of paper with lyrics written on them. And he showed me them and ran through them, and I recorded like melody ideas, and he and I would go back and forth with that in the room there. And it turned out he was actually writing his first iteration of the Frog Prince.
Wow.
And we all know what happened to that.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, I had no idea what would happen in the future with the Frog Prince, but to be able to work with the director of the animator of Genie and see how animated he was when he was performing these songs, it was absolutely amazing. So I went home excited, told my wife that I'm going to be writing these 5 songs with Eric. So I write the songs, write the music. It's very much Disney-esque musical numbers. And Eric ends up singing a song called The Wacky Guy. I am the wacky guy. It's fantastic stuff. It's wonderful. I'm just blown away here. So we write the songs. There's 5 of them, and Eric he goes, "Okay, I love them. We're gonna go pitch them, and I'll tell you the results." So he goes away and talks to the superiors there and does his pitch, and I'm hearing just fantastic results, and I'm hearing that they love it. And Eric comes back. He goes, Mike, they loved it. And he goes, "Thank you." I was like, "Are you kidding me? Thank you, sir. It was absolutely a pleasure to be able to work with you." And so they ended up purchasing those 5 songs from me and Eric. We went in as co-writers for those 5 songs. Now, unfortunately, I would love to end that story with, and that's what became The Princess and the Frog. It didn't. It didn't. They took the idea, they bought it, but they did not use Eric's version. And you know why? They didn't feel like they wanted to taint the brand, the Disney brand, with by making fun of themselves yet. And you know which movie came in, did that, not to the Disney brand, but blew up? Shrek.
Oh, yeah.
And then Disney was like, maybe we should do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Eric came up with that idea first, and they had the opportunity. And we benefited, of course, because they purchased songs from us. So Disney now owns 5 songs from Eric Goldberg and Mike Brassell, and I have no idea if they'll ever do anything with it. Of course, it was with Frog Prince, and Eric's version did not get used, unfortunately. But they did do Princess and the Frog, which is fantastic. So I feel kind of attached to that project.
Yeah.
You know what'll happen? They'll build an attraction, Mike, and then they'll go, "Well, we need some additional music that we didn't use in the movie. Hey, where's that stuff Mike did?" And they'll pull it out of the archives and they'll use it in an attraction. And then you'll be in something else.
Well, I tell you, I'd be so happy when that day comes. Oh, are you kidding me? Yes. Yeah. It's things like that happen to me there at Feature Animation that made me very, very very happy, of course, and just respect the brand completely. They're amazing.
Yeah. How long did you work for Disney in total?
That's a great question. Did I start in 90? I think I started in 97 with Disney and ended at 2002.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, 5. I certainly hit my 5 years. 2002, 2003. My last film with them was Brother Bear. I'm sorry. So I'll run down my list real quick.
Yeah.
So I think I went to Beauty and the Beast Human again, did a little bit of work on Atlantis, started to work on Kingdom of the Sun at that point because we were all finished with Fantasia. And they had a dispute there story-wise, and it turned out once they came back together, it was called The Emperor's New Groove. At that point, I had moved on to Tarzan and worked fully and completely on that movie, training for my new position in Florida, which was assistant production manager. I had moved up at that point, thanks to my good friend David Steinberg, a producer there at Disney. They moved my family and I to Florida, and we started working on Lilo and Stitch. As a matter of fact, even before Lilo and Stitch, we worked on Goofy's How to Haunt a House because at that point, Florida was finished with Mulan. Great success. They were all excited. They had a new building, and it was tremendous to be able to be down there, and everyone was so excited down there. It was amazing. We got down there, worked on Goofy, How to Haunt a House. We worked a little bit on the Pooh ride, but I don't think it was for the California park. I think it might have been overseas. And then we worked on John Henry. And then we graduated, of course, to Lilo and Stitch, and then Brother Bear right afterwards. And then they closed the animation studio. Actually, they were working on a couple of other projects, but then they decided to nix those and close the studio. So a good long list for me, at least, animation-wise. I mean, those films take 2.5 years each to complete. All amazing, good stuff, and I'm so proud to have worked there.
Yeah. I am blown away that so you worked in Burbank, and then you came to Florida, you worked here. You had, like, the best of both worlds. You were in a place where, Disney had started. It was famous for that. And then you came to, like, the new Disney that they were trying to build here in Florida and worked here as well. That's crazy.
Yes, sir. It was amazing. I got to tell you, when we came down to Florida for the first time and they moved us down there, we had never actually been to Walt Disney World at all or any of the 4 parks. So, I burnt that card up. We go to the park every day. Are you kidding me? My family and I had such a great time. Here's what I used to do. Man, we used to go out and do park walks. So we'd have lunch and we'd go out in the middle of the park and just walk around and everybody's vacation. It was so cool to be able to see that. Everybody pushing their strollers, the families getting the ice cream, one upset that they can't do this ride. And, it was absolutely amazing to be able to get perspective like that and go, wow, when we're finished with this, these characters are going to appear out in the park as well. It's amazing to be able to see that. My mind was blown. You'll have to forgive me, but I was so excited to be able to do that and to be able to have my family there. And my wife would call me or text me, hey, hon, we're going to meet you in the park. Oh, that's fantastic. So I come out the back door and you come out the cast entrance, my kids are like, Dad! I'm like, kids! We run into each other. We go have a fun time, you know what I'm saying? In the night with watching, what is it, Fantasmic there? Oh, it was a beautiful, beautiful time. I'm telling you, it was best. You guys are making me, I wish I could go back there right now.
All right, let me ask you this. Do you still have your cast member card?
No.
Really? You got rid of it?
Yeah, well, I would love to have hung on to it, but they take it from you once you exit working with them, or once you have your exit interview and you're finished working with them. They do keep it. They confiscate it.
Well, since nobody's listening to this, I kept mine.
I was going to say, you probably kept yours, didn't you?
That's awesome.
You're going to have to pry it from my dead cold hands.
That's awesome.
I couldn't let go. I was like, I'll send it to you. I don't have it with me right now. I hate to say that, but I just couldn't let it go. I couldn't. It's interesting. Jodie Benson was at the D23 Expo, and she was given the Legend Award. And she pulled out her cast member card that she still has. Apparently, they can't pull that out of her dead cold hands either. So
there you go. You're in good company. So.
It is. They are a good company, man. Yeah, you want to keep all your benefits with that company. I understand that completely.
Yeah, yeah.
I work there too, Mike, but I let them have the card back, like you.
You guys give up too easily.
Wow, man! I'm gonna ask him before it back.
Yeah, you should. You should say, "Could you send me my card back?"
Yeah.
Tony has his. Jody Benson has hers.
That's great.
Why do you think they stopped making movies in Orlando? I'm just going to throw that out there for you.
Sure, Tony. Go ahead.
Why do you think they stopped making movies in Orlando? Do you think it was, it was difficult because a lot of the people were still back in Burbank? It felt like I don't know. My thought was it was kind of disjointed. It was like trying to separate two wholes. There's probably still a lot of paint and art and music and things that had to happen in Burbank that maybe couldn't happen here in Florida at that time.
Well, you'd be surprised because I was as well. Mulan was really the first test, if you will, to see if the Florida idea was going to work out. And of course, it did, like gangbusters. The cost wasn't prohibitive like you would think, shipping, FedEx, things like that. It wasn't cost prohibitive for Disney. So I want to try to answer your question. And one of the best ways I can answer your question really is to point you towards Dream On, Silly Dreamer by Tony West and Dan Lunn. That's a film that I scored, as a matter of fact. There's a shameless plug there. But even so, that really kind of explains Disney's rise and fall in the animation world, I'll say. But I'll go on to explain the way I feel about it. And this is only my opinion with why they closed the studio. DreamWorks and the other studios were coming along in their success, in their stories and animated features that they were releasing, and of course we're just getting into 3D the 3D as well. We already had Pixar. I say we as if I were with Disney still, but Pixar was still pumping out 3D hits like they're always known for. But the other studios were starting to get wind of it, and even capture some of Disney's talent as well. So what I think happened was a mix of a glut of 2D releases from Disney themselves, along with all their competitors. I think it just took market share down enough for Disney to go, okay, we're starting to lose money now. And just like any company, Disney loves to make money or their products, and who doesn't? I can't blame them for that. But then they felt like Florida was now a liability, and it wasn't just Florida caught in the mix. It was, I think, a studio in Japan and even Australia ultimately got closed for 2D. So they really started to focus on the 3D aspect, even though they had Pixar, and ended up ultimately purchasing Pixar, which I think is a brilliant move. Not just that, but recently with their moves with Marvel, and of course, Lucas handing over his Star Wars empire. What? Yeah. Yeah, Disney's got it now. So Disney is like the king of the marketing machinery, and they're trusted by these gigantic directors and their amazing properties to be able to see it through, see it done, the way Disney can. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's my answer. Yeah,
it does. Because I was working in Orlando, Florida. I was doing security at that time. And there was a couple times I had to work over at the studios backstage, amongst the artists and stuff. And it just felt like that was so cool to be back there, where a movie was being made. I thought it was cool. And like you...
It was.
I used to work a 3 to 11 shift doing security. So I used to go to the parks. One day I was at the Tower of Terror, and it just kept going on. And one of the cast members goes, "Do you work here? Because you just keep going on back on the same attraction over and over and over again." I said, "Well, yeah, I'm trying to kill time before my shift at 3 o'clock. He goes, "Yeah, okay." He goes, "Tell them downstairs. This way you don't have to get off. They'll just let you keep riding."
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
It was. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
It was. Now, Lilo and Stitch and Brother Bear, I had an office where I was the assistant production manager of CAPS, Computer Animation Production System, and that's where, the paper artwork gets scanned in the digital world, and it remains there and gets painted and checked, and effects and all that stuff happens to this artwork there. So I was handling, along with a couple of other managers, 6-7 departments to the end of the film until we archived the final thing and cut everything in. We were located right there at the bottom of the bottom of the entrance of the animation building there in Florida, and we were right on the tour. I don't know if you guys remember that Art of Animation tour, but we used to gather in the story room right there on the tour sometimes. Just to have our production meetings there. They call it the fishbowl. Right. It was fantastic. And you can see the office I used to occupy there still. That was fun. The kids loved it. As a matter of fact, that was fun to be able to do that one day. I knew my wife and kids were coming in. I asked them to take the tour, and I ended up going up the stairs and going through the door and finish the rest of the tour with them. That was a special time for me. I loved doing that.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. I did the Adventure by Disney last year with a friend of mine, Rick, and we had gone on the studio, and they couldn't take us in the Royal Disney Theater at the time because they were doing something in there, but they took us into the animation building, and I got chills. I mean, I was like, wow. I mean, Roy, Walt, Michael Eisner, all these great, animators that I've known in these Disney figures have walked in this building. I actually, it was like, a lot of emotion, So I can't imagine, working there and doing what you did. I would have been like, pinch me, somebody. This must be a dream.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah. We can relate to all your excitement. Absolutely.
Yeah. I was reading in your bio that you had a composer that kind of, ignited this spark in you to kind of compose music. Do you want to talk about the composer, who he is? And I'll say this. This person, I think, and there's probably a couple of them besides the guy you're going to talk about, that kind of have written, maybe mine and maybe even yours, our movie track of our lives,
Oh, man.
All of the movies we've probably seen in the last 20 years have been written by only 2 or 3 people. But go ahead, Mike, tell us.
Oh, thank you for setting the stage, Tony. I'm going to get excited here. I'm not going to apologize either, because this is absolutely tremendous. I'm talking about John Towner Williams. What? Yeah, I know his middle name. That's right. I ain't afraid to admit it. You better believe it. This guy's amazing. The consummate composer. This dude knows what he's doing. Look, that's an obvious thing, but John Williams he's in my DNA. Now, I'm not saying I write like him or anything like that, but I'm telling you that this man has affected me through his music. Music is absolutely transcendental. It speaks to the core of a human in ways that I don't think you can actually say with words. You guys understand what I'm saying by that?
Oh, yeah.
My goodness. And John Williams struck me so hard. I'm a fan forever. So here's where outside of Star Wars, 1977, I was 7 years old at the time. I just dated myself. I didn't want to do that. Crap. Anyway, at least I'm a cheap date. I am, 14, 15, something like that in Ohio, right? Just a small Midwestern town, humble beginnings, all that good stuff. I'm very, very proud to be from Ohio. I truly am. I love it. Go Bucks. And I'm walking with my Walkman on. I've got Empire Strikes Back, and I've got John Williams in there. I'm wearing that tape out. You guys remember cassettes, right? Ooh-wee.
Oh, yeah.
Got to keep a spare set of batteries, man. I'm telling you.
Right.
You do not want that thing to go like this, because then you'll be upset. What? I got to get new batteries. So I had some batteries in there, had my cassette in there, just listening to Star Wars and just swimming in the genius that is John Williams. This guy, I say he knows what he's doing. I mean, that's like I said, that's obvious, but anyone who listens to him and listens to his themes understands understands what it is he's trying to do. Why? Right now is it? You could sing Darth Vader's theme, which is the Emperor's Emperor's Imperial March. Sorry. Why can you sing it right now to someone under 15 and they'll know it? Mm-hmm. What? Do you know what I'm saying? What?
Yeah.
I mean, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to write a theme. He'll write, which is a motif. He'll write a motif for a character. He'll leitmotif, as a matter of fact, and then he'll twist that up, and he'll tell the story musically, and it'll make all kinds of sense, and you're so excited you don't even know why. You're shifting in your seat because of all this wonderful action you're seeing on the screen, but you're hearing it in the music as well, and that's what I love about this guy. Some people have different opinions, and that's fine, but me, this guy's the one who introduced me to orchestral music. I don't know what I would have been writing had I not been inspired by John Williams. But right now, I that's what I write because of him, and a lot of composers will say that. I would like to share another story if I could. Is that okay?
Absolutely, yeah. Please do.
Okay, check this out. I got a chance to meet John Williams' brother, and I have to believe that's who it was. And this is a lesson for all listening on the podcast. This is a lesson in boldness. Being bold, okay? Just going out there, man, and asking the world for something, and then having them go, hey, you know what? That's not a problem to give it to you. Check this out. I was working Cats Don't Dance right before I went to Disney, right? And I was a PA. Oh, no. I was a coordinator at that time. I got bumped up from PA to coordinator, and my time was coming to an end. We were about finished with the movie, and I was talking to a friend of mine there, another co-producer, as a matter of fact, and I said, you know what? With my composing background, I had never experienced a scoring session before. And this was just, look, I was young, naive. I didn't know, but I'm going to ask, you know what I'm saying? Being bold. So here we go. I said, so I would love to attend a scoring session. Is that possible? And my friend says, you know what? Let me check and see. So he talks with the producers, and he goes, yeah, you know what? You can do it. And so I did, and my time was done, and they actually let me extend my time for the 2 weeks that we were at the scoring stage. You don't know how awesome that was. Every composer would give their left leg and their first child and their last motorcycle and everything else to be able to be a part of this. And I was there. So listen to me. With the spirit of what I'm saying in this is just, I'm awestruck and I'm humbled to be able to be where I was. That's to understand it in that light, if you would. So I go to my first session, and it's at Paramount, and I'm blown away because I'm a kid from Ohio at Paramount Studios. Are you kidding me? Okay, so I'm starstruck. I'm there. They let me in the gate. Are you kidding me? They didn't tell me to turn around. They let me in. So I go park, and I don't know where I'm going. I see a sound stage, and I go in. You got to be nice people. So, hey, where's the scoring stage? Oh, it's over here. Okay, great. So I go over to, and all the producers are there, and the director, and I know them. We're friends. And, hey, how you doing, Mike? Yeah. And we meet the engineer, and we meet the front desk people there, Paramount Scoring Stage M. I remember it to this day. I think I have a shirt and a pencil from that place. And that next 2 weeks was one of the most impactful 2 weeks of my life. I got a chance to meet some of the world's most amazing musicians, to be able to see that process of scoring to a film, to be able to see the choir when they came in to sing for the film was nothing short of amazing. And I just sat there awestruck, watching the entire process go down. It's just being taught stuff I had never known about what happened in the world of soundtrack recording. Oh, I loved it. I ate it up, okay? Like a foodie eats cake. Do you know what I'm saying?
We know
my
exactly.
goodness. So it was the best thing in the world. Now, I told you I was going to talk to you about boldness. I don't mean to stretch this out. So here's what happens. We're coming out from the scoring stage, and you have to be real quiet because they, once the light goes on and the streamer and the punch comes and they're in, and you can't have your phone on, you can't have your pager at the time on, and all that stuff, right? Great time, great people. They were nice. So we come out on break. And I'm using the bathroom, and I come out of the bathroom, and I hear a woman talking. Here's the lesson in boldness. And I hear her say, or someone say, "Hey, Sandy." And guys, I don't know if you know this, but Sandy DeCrescent was the top orchestral contractor in Hollywood. And she was on 98%, maybe 90% of all the movies that were being scored in Hollywood at the time. She was the contractor for it. She would get all the musicians together for the composer, all that good stuff. I knew her name because I would check the credits of all the movies, of all the soundtracks I liked. And there was Sandy DeCrescent's name constantly. Sandy DeCrescent. So I'm sitting there coming out of the bathroom and I hear Sandy DeCrescent. What? That's Sandy? So I go up just in a fit of boldness, and I have no idea why, but I did it. I went up to her. I introduced myself, and I didn't interrupt who she was talking to. She was finished. I turned around. "Hi, Sandy. My name is Mike Brassell, and I'm an up-and-coming composer." Remember, I told you I tell everybody what I do. I'm an up-and-coming composer. I've seen your name. I told her exactly what I told you guys. Seen your name in 90% of the movies. I can't believe I'm meeting you. This is fantastic. She said, "Wow." And I don't know if orchestral contractors know that people know them, but I did. Here is what she did. She grabbed her purse, pulled out a piece of paper, wrote her name, her office down, and office number down, and the name of her assistant.
Wow.
And she said, after she handed it to me, "You can be my guest at any of my open sessions." Oh,
Wow.
Oh, I almost fell out from, are you kidding me? So I have this, I was Charlie from Willy Wonka. I had the golden ticket in my hand as a composer. Are you kidding me? Huh? To be able to go, okay, sorry. I'm scaring your listeners now. But when your dreams come true, this is what it looks like. Yes. Oh my goodness. So I go back in, we finish the session. I go, for the rest of the sessions, it's fantastic. I was so pleased to be able to do that. I thank the co-producer to this day. Thank you for allowing me to come and see this. It was tremendous. I learned a lot. And he's like, "You're welcome." So because I was out of a job at that particular point, my next job was Disney. I had gotten a chance for the next 2 months to go to, I'll try to remember the list, guys here. I'll make it quick. Con Air. I went and sat at Con Air, watched that. I went and saw LA Confidential, and I met Jerry Goldsmith for the first time. I sat in the middle of the orchestral recording room when LA Confidential was being scored. It was amazing. It was unbelievable. And Jerry's the nicest guy in the world. Oh, okay. So then I go to, where else? I went to, I can't remember the name of the scoring stage, but I sat next to Kevin Costner and his kids, and we were talking, having a good time for the scoring of For Love of the Game. Where else did I go? It was a tremendous experience. I went to, 10 or 11. So I'll get to the point. I was at Paramount Scoring Stage M one more time, and I can't remember the film they were scoring. And Sandy and I have become fast friends, of course, at that particular point. I couldn't go to any of her closed sessions. Do you know which composer she represents on her closed sessions? You got to guess this. Come on.
No idea.
John Williams.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. I thought, now I've had that, my heart would have burst. If she had said yes, my heart would have burst. But it didn't happen, and that's okay. I got next to him, though, through his brother. So here's the story. Scores happening. I go out and talk to the musicians. I'm friends with those guys now, as even now, as a matter of fact. They're great guys, great people. So I go out and I'm meeting, the percussionists, the pianists. I'm meeting the violinists and the cello section and all those guys. And one of the guys from the percussion section says, "Hey," because I talked to him about John Williams, and of course those guys have played on that. They played that, so I was surrounded by greatness, and my dreams were coming true, and it was amazing. And one of the guys says, "Have you heard me talk about John Williams?" He goes, "Well, that's John Williams' brothers right there," and he's playing percussion. I don't know what he was playing at that particular time at the session, but I went up to him and said, "Hi, my name is Mike Brassell. Can you tell?" I felt like an idiot, but I said, "Can you tell your brother I said hi?" And then I love his music. I have no idea if he passed that message on, but I felt like I felt like an idiot. I didn't know what to say, but I shook his hand, and he did confirm to me, at least, that he was John's brother, and that was absolutely amazing. So be bold, okay? Because the world will sometimes answer with a yes. Sometimes it will, and when it does, it will astound you. Please do this. It's amazing. Why not do it? Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You should have been carrying a stack of demo CDs with you, Mike.
Yeah, why didn't I do that? Yeah, lesson learned, huh? So that's a lesson. Carry demos with you.
That's right. There's only there's really only one person, I think, besides John Williams, that probably has scored a lot of music that is the soundtrack or the movie soundtrack to my life, and that's like Hans Zimmer. I think might be the only other person besides John Williams that has scored some stuff that I go, oh yeah, I recognize that, and I know what movie that's from.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know who's come up as well for me is Danny Elfman. I mean,
yes.
Come on now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And the only reason I know this person's name, he did the score for West Wing, W.G. Snuffy Walden.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is the only reason I actually have the soundtrack to West Wing, because I just love that music. And then I find that he does all this other great stuff after I pull his name up. So there are just a handful of really people, people my age. If you love the movies, that they've written probably all the music to every movie you've ever seen.
Absolutely.
And these are the guys: Elfman, Zimmer, Williams, are really the people. So
that you're absolutely right. Now, can I also give some love to those who orchestrate for these magnificent composers? That sometimes that's unspoken, and there's ghostwriting in there too, and that's kind of a shady thing sometimes. But I got to give a love to those orchestrators who actually do a lot of that hard work. And like Zimmer, he's not afraid to tell you this. He has a camp of people that all of them will start just writing on a movie that he has claimed credit for. Now, I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. He can come up with the theme. He can come up with whatever he wants to do. That's awesome. But I got to give love to those people who are on their team who help these guys do what they do. I mean, it'd be unfair for me to say that John Williams writes every note of his music. I know, I think for a fact, Conrad Pope does a lot of his orchestrations. And so I got to give credit to that guy as well. Conrad's awesome. I've heard his music as well. You can go to his website as well. Awesome. Awesome. So these guys have great support systems that help them continue to be the geniuses they are and give us the fantastic soundtrack of our lives. Tony, I like that. I'm trademarking that one.
Yeah. Use it. It's yours.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Krista.
Well, I was just going to say, I'm so glad that you shared all that, because, I mean, we actually close our podcast out. Every show we close out with "When You Wish Upon a Star," because that's what it's all about. You're actually living and breathing your dreams. You're living proof that you can reach for the stars and you can succeed. So I'm just so glad that you shared that. And after you're finished talking about the next thing, I wanted to ask you about, speaking of dreams coming true, I know you went to the premiere for Mulan, which to me, I would just faint. I don't know what I would do. So I wanted to hear a little bit about what that was like and all that stuff too.
Okay. It was our first Disney premiere. And it had to be Mulan. It was just amazing. Okay, I'll try not to get too excited here, but it's hard.
It's okay.
So my wife and I are like, oh wait, no, it wasn't Mulan. I apologize. It was Hercules. We went to Hercules, and it was amazing. So we get dressed up, my wife and I, and we go down to the animation building because they bus us from that point to where the party's going to be and the screening. So they take us there. We get out and we gather with our friends. We all go in the theater and we watch the movie, and it's awesome. We love Hercules, and I love Hercules. As a matter of fact, it's fantastic. And then they take us to a hotel where it's decked out. I mean, come on, you know Disney, and you know the way they do things. And you get out and you go, "What? This is amazing!" And so you get out, and you have this awesome food, and you're with your friends and the directors, and you're just having the best time of your life. And everything's available to you. I mean, they give you this nice bag with lots of good Disney swag that you're already just kind of burgeoning with, just because that's the way they are. At least with feature animation, they were. So we were extremely blessed to be able to participate in Hercules. They had character, photo areas. Well, let's see what else they had. I cannot remember exactly everything. It was a while back for me now, but I remember going, wow, if this is the way they party, I mean, how do they... I don't even know how to finish that one. It was amazing. This is amazing. Wow.
Now, where did they have that, Mike? Was that
again? My memory fails me.
Was it here in Orlando? Or was it back in Burbank?
It was in L.A.
Yeah, maybe no, they probably wouldn't. I was thinking the El Capitan Theater, but that's where they do everything now, and that's only because they own it. They didn't own it back then.
That's right. That's right.
Maybe Grumman's Chinese Theater. That was the other favorite place.
I know we didn't go there. I just don't remember where we went, though.
Yeah. Interesting.
Amazing, though.
It was amazing.
Can't imagine.
Yeah. All right. So if you had the chance, I'm going to say, put John Williams aside for a second. I know that's hard. Put him aside for a second. But if you had a chance to, say, compose some music with somebody on a TV show, a movie, or some great project, who else would you want to, say, collaborate with besides John?
Okay, I have two answers.
Okay.
The first is with my mentor. His name is William Ross, and he's an amazing composer, good friend of mine. Love that guy. He's actually the musical director of the Oscars. I think he's had that for the last 4 or 5 years now. He produces Streisand and Josh Groban. Great guy. And as a matter of fact, he was the composer for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, if I have that right. And he tells a fantastic story about meeting with John Williams and it's amazing. Can I quickly, please?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sitting in the studio and we're talking about this. It's amazing. We both love John Williams, of course. So he goes, Mike, he goes, he was excited. No, I was super excited listening to what he was saying. He goes, Mike, okay, look, someone had recommended me for the position of writing with John or John's themes for Sorcerer's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And I went to John's place. And John handed me a package of materials, and some of it was cue sheets and things I'd written down, and I'm just blown away, going, "Well, I can't believe this!" And he goes, "Yes." He goes, he sat down, and John said, "So I heard you're the right guy to come to kind of carry my vision forward with this." And Bill was, and he's a humble dude, a great guy. At that point, he tells me in this story, he got up, and he got ready to leave. He goes, no, I think you got the wrong guy. I mean, he really didn't believe that he was qualified to be there. John's like, no, sit down. No, you're the guy. So John had to reassure him, show him all of his themes and stuff like that. So they went back and forth. And the culmination of this story is absolutely tremendous. Again, this should serve as inspiration for any composer. John so William Ross scores the film using John's themes. And I don't know if you know Sorcerer's Stone, but boy, it's you wouldn't know it wasn't John Williams. So here's what every composer who loves John Williams wants to hear. William Ross was with John Williams at the premiere, and they were talking, and William Ross says, John said he didn't know where he ended and William Ross began.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
Holy mackerel.
Well, so not only did William Ross sound like John Williams, but John said he didn't know where William began and John ended. Are you kidding me? That's what everyone was to hear. Oh, and he heard it. And William is absolutely spectacular. He's a wonderful guy, fantastic composer, and he knows what he's doing. So I would say my mentor, William Ross, I would love to compose something with him.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Absolutely. I have to give him that. He deserves it. and I would also like to compose with Bear McCreary. I said 2. Can I add one more?
Sure.
Okay, there's a new guy. I don't know how new he is to the composing world. His name is Thomas Burgesson, and he works with Nick Phoenix and not Tom Bergeron, but Burgesson. Thomas Burgesson. And he's with a company called Two Steps from Hell. I don't know if you guys have ever heard it. He's with extrememusic.com. They write for that library, and this guy is a prodigy. And he's absolutely amazing. His music is, when I say transcendental and it touches you, wow. You got to listen to what this guy does. He's amazing. I don't know if he scored a film yet, but I think he should. He's awesome. So those 3 guys I'd write with.
Yeah. That's a good list.
Great answers. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Krista, what else?
So do we want to move into your big announcement now, Mike? You want to tell everybody what it is?
Dun, dun, dun.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah. Hey, so I just recently got WDI, Walt Disney Imagineering, contacted me, and they offered me to revoice the update for Living with the Land at Epcot. So I'm so excited. I get to go down there in August, and I get to record the new script for Living with the Land. I'm so pleased to be able to do this. This is exciting. It's humbling, and I'm just raring and ready to go. I cannot wait.
Let the rumor mill begin.
Yes. Well, hopefully when you come back, maybe you'll be able to share a little something, because I know there's, like Tony was saying before we started recording, there's a lot of talk about, the land pavilion and what they're going to be doing inside of there. So maybe they'll give Mike a little insight that he can share with us. That would be great.
Yeah.
That's it. Right after he violates that NDA agreement.
Right. Yes, you know Disney.
Oh, I know them.
That's exciting. I'm so happy.
Yeah. All right, Mike, where can people find... we know we can listen to you in the land and the TTA. Are there other places on the internet, other things, other projects that people will find your music sneaking in?
Yes. Yes. Let's see. I should have a whole list that I can rattle off to you. I don't. There's a lot of work that I do for attractions that are not in the States, as a matter of fact. They are overseas. I do a lot of work for some clients overseas in Abu Dhabi, over in the Middle East area, and some of their parks, and I do it over in China. And some of that music you can hear on my SoundCloud page at Mike Brassell, SoundCloud/Mike Brassell, I believe. Check that out. Of course, go to my site. And my site, this is terrible to say, but I'm going to say it. My site has not been updated in forever, and it has some older stuff on there, but you can hear some of the stuff I have written a while back. It's there, and that's at MikeBrassell.com. And, of course, like I said, at SoundCloud. But I got to plug my son here. He's awesome. My son, and, of course, I'm his father. I'm going to be biased, but he's coming up in the trap world, hip-hop, trap. His name is Alexander Brassell, of course, and he goes by Zen Zan Beats. You got to check his stuff out. He is up and coming, a hot producer, and I had nothing to do with what he's into. And he does all of his music on his iPad that we bought him a couple years ago for his graduation. He's amazing. Yeah, proud of him.
That's very interesting. We had on Bill Farmer, voice of Goofy. Absolutely. And his son is now also kind of following in Bill's footsteps. And it was not something that Bill said, hey, you should try this out. This is really cool. He just said it's just something he does. His son is also in a band, does music, and does recording stuff, same as Bill.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Does he also do Goofy? Does his son do Goofy as well?
You know what? We didn't ask him that after that would have been a good question to ask him.
That's fantastic. See, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So it's my father was in the restaurant business, brought me into the business to teach me how hard it was to never go into the restaurant business, and I'm not. So his plan works fine.
Yeah, Absolutely. My dad did the same. We got in the ring when we were younger because, we saw you saw what our dad did. And he was great at it. He really was. Always in shape, fit, working out, boxing, and just had a great relationship with those around him in the community and all that stuff. So I love my dad. The whole family, of course, loves my father for the example he was as a human being and, of course, as a sports figure. But when we stepped in that ring, we used to do that. We had a little ring down in the basement where we used to live in Ohio before. And when we would mess with each other as brothers, my dad would put the gloves on. Okay, you guys want to fight? Go ahead. So my older brother and I, Jeff, this was when I was really young, maybe 7, 8, somewhere around there. We got in the ring, had the gloves on, upset as kids. I'm going to punch your lights out. You know what I'm saying? You're just kind of shuffling around the ring thinking you're bad. And all of a sudden this punch comes to your face you're not expecting. You're down on your knee crying, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't follow in the footsteps of our father. I think I can speak for my brothers here because we just don't like getting punched in the face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think
Perfectly
I do.
Understandable, yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I just don't want to get punched in the face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
I'll change your life in a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I would never be so bold as to ask you what your favorite song is, Mike. So what we've done, we found a little fun online quiz if you want to play with us. It's only like 7 questions, and it's about which Disney song is your personal anthem. Will you want to go through this really quick?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, when you were on the show last time, we asked you your favorite movie, and you said The Lion King.
Yes.
You think that's changed? It's not Frozen or one of the new ones, right?
Oh, they're great, but no, the message in The Lion King is so powerful. I love it.
Yeah, I remember you really, really liked that one.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question is kind of finish this sentence. So the sentence is, the grass is greener, and your choices are, first of all, the first one is where I don't have to cut it. The next one is where you water it. The third one is when you're in love, the grass is greener. The next one is the grass is greener outside where I belong. The grass is greener on the other side. The grass is greener with company, or the grass is greener when I'm by myself. So I know there was a lot of choices there, but.
Okay. I'm going to stick with the tried and true on the other side.
On the other side. Okay. The classic. All right. And what's your favorite color?
Green.
Okay. And what do you think is the most important thing out of all these? Okay. There's love, adventure, friends, alone time, relaxation, hard work, taking care of the earth, or your art. What do you think is the most important thing out of those?
Oh, man. I mean, what? Okay. But I'll go with the real, and I'll say love.
Okay, I had a feeling you were going to say that.
I can not say love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So now if you had to pick an instrument, would you pick flute, violin, piano, bells, bongos, or guitar?
Piano.
All right. Good one. And then would your best friend say that you are a romantic? Would they say you're just laid back? Would they say you're a hard worker? Would they say bold, artistic, or free spirit?
Oh, man, artistic.
Yeah, okay. And we're almost done. Okay, so this is really weird, but you're supposed to pick an animal. So I'm going to name some animals. I guess you just pick your favorite. There's lion, dragon, monkey, horse, bear, raccoon, reindeer, or fish.
Okay. It's a difficult fight. You don't know what's going on in my head right now. I have the lion and the dragon fighting each other. Okay. Let's say the lion wins.
Okay.
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 It was cool. You should have seen it.
All right. It's calculating, and according to this silly quiz, your Disney song, that's your personal anthem, is actually part of your world from The Little Mermaid. It says,
no way.
It says, you're headstrong and adventurous. You know what you want out of life, and you will do whatever it takes to get it. Maybe even your voice.
Oh, snap. No way. Huh? Yeah.
That's pretty good, yeah. So your new personal anthem, you can sing that while you're walking around the house, and
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. I'll take that. Yeah.
fun, yeah.
We had on Pat Carroll, who does the voice of Ursula.
Absolutely.
A long time ago. All right, so you said your favorite movie was The Lion King, and I'm looking at IMDb, and it's telling me that Hans Zimmer was a music supervisor and the original score arranger for The Lion King.
Yeah, he was the composer as well.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's probably under some other title on his IMDb, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's where another one where the music kind of stuck with you. Wow.
Yeah. So it all comes full circle, not to quote any movie.
Circle of life. So
That was good. I saw what you did there.
Yeah.
we'll stay on the line with us, Mike, but we got to close out the show. We just want to thank everybody for tuning in and hanging out with us. Mike, you are amazing, marvelous. We just appreciate you so much and your time and your friendship. You're awesome. We love you. Thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
Well, thank you so much. The love is back, goes right back to you guys. Thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you. And thanks all for listening. I appreciate you guys going through my my memories and helping me remember all the wonderful reasons why I'm glad I'm alive and smiling and all that good stuff. I'm very pleased to be a part of your show.
Thanks. It was great. And we'll see you in the parks.
Yeah. Hi, this is Mike Brassell. Welcome to a voyage of discovery and awareness of the richness, diversity, and often surprising nature of living with the land. Our journey begins as dramatic and sudden changes are sweeping over the land. The approaching storm may seem violent and destructive to us, but it's actually just Tony and Krista. You're listening to the Disney Parks Podcast.
The Disney Parks Podcast is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company. All Disney parks, attractions, lands, shows, event names, etc. are registered trademarks of the Walt Disney Company.